but you play me like a clown and you fool, bitch. So just step back, or I'm mad that when I come down straight. I thought you were my piece, but you play me out. Now I'm mad as hell, and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Back on the scene, it's time to get mean. I'm a lean revolution machine. For what people stay, they sway. For today is good as any day. Y'all feel slightly this, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises over the top. Don't cross the line, and you know it's right. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's go. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's go. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
Got a filter? Yeah. Woo! Woo!
Let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? 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 Who you wanna roll with?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. That's a nice one. Hold on. Let me fix it up a little bit. Fix the camera. All right. We just rolled a fatty. Who you want to roll with? Big Bear from upstairs.
Yams.
Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday. And we got a great show ahead. We got a lot to talk about. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Bongholio is joining us. Hey, Bongholio, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're feeling better.
Hey, what's up?
I have you on.
Yeah, I feel like shit, man. I have like a stomach bug. I woke up feeling sick.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I didn't have any of your audio. Go ahead.
No, I said I have like a stomach bug or something. I woke up feeling crummy. Then I was gonna head over, and I started feeling sick again. So, well, thank you for wishing me better. But yeah, I got like a stomach bug, man. What you up to?
Just rolled a big fat joint.
420 podcast, huh?
Yeah, we'll do the 420 today.
Word.
I thought we'd do an early one. I was hoping you'd come over and we'd do an early one.
Dude, I was planning on coming over and doing some dual El Rampador stuff today, but I was just like, I gotta wait until I feel better. I just feel like shit.
It's a little cold for that.
So what? No, it's not. We've done cold. Kidding me? We've done crazy stuff in the cold.
So what the hell was lava? What the hell? Well, it wasn't Lavalette. It was Manaloking today.
Yeah. So the proceedings were conducted in Manalokin with a different judge. Update for everybody. The prosecutor had recused himself prior to this court date. Same thing as the judge. Then they moved the venue to Manalokin. each one of those things I've never had happen before, but they all three have taken place in this case. The judge heard our motion. We basically laid out the basis of our argument. And he seemed fair for the most part for this just initial court date. And I think it went well. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. I think it's going to get dismissed. I mean, we shall see. We all know that this can go anyway, whatever, blah, blah. But Steve made an amazing argument. Took a lot of the weight off my shoulders. I was just pretty much able to echo some of the stuff he's, add some stuff in, but he kind of covered a lot. He should be joining in a couple minutes. He wants to talk about it.
I'm here.
There he is.
Yeah, I'm here, guys. The reason why it was moved is because there's a conflict of interest because I signed a deprivation of civil rights criminal charge against Sergeant Lucero. So they had to move it because there's a criminal charge pending. It's up at the county prosecutor's office at the moment. And I mean, their argument was in the motion to not dismiss it was he had prima facie. So at the moment of arrest, he believed that you weren't allowed to record a public meeting, although he cited the actual, case law, case precedent, Torres versus Pine Hill, that says you're allowed to record a public meeting, that yes, they can have reasonable restrictions, the number of cameras, the places where the cameras can be, stuff like that. But obviously it's a common law right. It was established with that case. There was a common law right. So it also said it's got to be codified. And the exhibit that he brought in was the resolution for the mayor and council, but not for the public. But yet we followed the guidelines that was set forth in the resolution, including an up to requesting permission to record, and we're granted that via an email from the clerk. Now, the sergeant cited you have to get permission from the BA, from the mayor, from the council. The only person in the resolution that says you have to get permission from is the clerk, which we did. The judge was very interested in that email and had me email it, and then Mikey also produced it right at the motion hearing. My thing is, so the prosecutor pretty much said, well, we didn't listen to his lawful order on stopping recording, that we didn't have permission just based on that email. So I guess their argument is not that we were physically interfering with intent to disrupt the meeting, that we didn't listen to the cop telling us that we can't record even though we have permission. And they also said that we didn't identify ourselves, but yet that's not in the guidelines to identify yourself. And then, as Pat Duff said, do we have to show ID to prove who we are? What if Joe Blow requests permission to record the meeting? Does Joe Blow have to show his ID showing he's Joe Blow? All stuff that we brought up at the meeting. And then, is it their contention that if you do request permission, that they could deny it? Because under the case precedent, you could deny, let's say, 5 people coming in if you have an ordinance saying you're allowed to have 4 people recording, 4 cameras, and then you're the 5th person, you're excluded. But other than that, you're allowed to record a meeting. So at this point, if 40 people wanted to record that meeting, they're allowed to. There's no restrictions on the amount of people. And Chief Lucero, whatever the hell his name is, was at our hearing, listening in, even though he's incompetent and impotent and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
He's listening,
I think our argument was strong. I'm sure he's listening to this podcast too.
He's watching right now. You know that, Steve.
Yeah. Their egos can't stop them. I mean, he's a piece of shit. His whole family's a bunch of piece of shits.
Yep.
They can't do anything besides this. I'm sure. Daddy said, "Oh, Adam, you better get into this like your brother because you're too stupid to fucking do anything else, and you'll be protected by the union, and you can't get fired even if you do a major fuck up like this."
Yep.
I mean, he cites the exact law that says you can record and tells us that they have reasonable restrictions. Yet the restrictions are based. No, we followed the guidelines. I told him we were allowed to record that I had permission, and yet he arrested us anyhow.
Yeah, they're very rehearsed on the whole Supreme Court ruling. That's why he kept referencing it over the reasonable restrictions portion of it all. And like Pat Duff said, we're supposed to how would they know who is who anyway? You enter that meeting, they don't know whose name is who.
The guidelines don't say you have to show it.
Exactly. But let's just go hypothetically here for what they're trying to conduct an orderly meeting. How do you plan to not disrupt your own meeting if you need to start identifying people because you want to know who got permission? It's just
right. So I walk in 2 minutes after the meeting, or like you did, a couple minutes after the meeting started, and he's going to come over with a list and say, show me your papers so I can see if you can record. The public meeting that's open to the public, that anybody from the public can go in. And, there's been numerous case laws showing that you can record anywhere that you're allowed to be in. You're allowed to be there. You can record. And now they double down. So they're violating Rosenfeld versus New Jersey with their new resolutions. So if you say anything profane or anything like that, they'll throw you out. And they'll violate Cohen versus California, I'm sure. If you walked in with a shirt that said "fuck the mayor," and they'll throw you out for using any kind of profanity. Now, you can't just scream, fuck or anything like that. But if your message at the time of the podium is to say "fuck the mayor" and "fuck the Laciceros," you have every right to do that. But I think they'll have you arrested.
Yep.
And now you have to show a letter of intent to record 24 hours prior to the meeting. Where are they getting all this information from? And they're fucking lawyers.
Dumb lawyers.
And the alternative to all of this is them just following the law and allowing us to record. Funny, right?
Yeah.
It's a 2 minute. It's 2 minute. 2 minute public session part. They only give you 2 minutes.
Right. And the Sunshine Law says, to show a spotlight on what government officials are doing with our taxpayer money. And considering a lot of them are snowbirds or they have vacation homes here, there's no way for them to know what the hell is going on unless they read Bab's report, which is all skewed depending on what they want to report, if it's good or not. If it's not good, some jerk off out of town or fucking mumbled, and I don't know nothing that they said, so ignore it. Yet you could have a third-party witness recording that anybody from anywhere in the world could see, but they don't want that because they want to be able to use the funds of the people that own houses there that don't reside there all year long to use their money in any fashion that they deem fit.
Right.
17.5 on you two degenerates. You two criminals. You two thugs.
It's wild.
I mean, we did nothing illegal. And these reporters are fucking horrible because they regurgitate what these guys say instead of saying, well, wait, let me research, let me do investigative journalism like I'm supposed to do, and see exactly what Torah says, whether or not you can record the meeting like they're saying, or this resolution is completely illegal on its face and they can't do what they're doing. And let's get a bunch of reporters here to see if they're going to enforce anything. I mean, what are you enforcing? So the attorney, the prosecutor said basically that the resolution is legal and it's binding and everything else to the public. And, they can restrict people from recording, blah, blah, blah. Well, what are the penalties for doing that? You're gonna make up trumped up charges on something else that didn't occur? There's nothing in there that says it's legal, that it's illegal, a law or an ordinance to solidify the stuff. And if you violate this, X happens, and potentially you could go to jail, you could be fined, you could blah, blah, blah. There's none of that. So then we're going to disrupt in the meeting, even though.
Yellow.
Steve is frozen.
Yellow.
There you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurd. They, and these are what the fuck they're talking about.
We lost you for a minute there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're. I think I went to Wi-Fi because I just popped up at home. They're it's like the I said so law. Well, we read the law and we're just going to do it this way instead of actually doing it the right way. Because if they do it the right way, they can't do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're gonna, you know, it's almost like if I'm a cop and I stop you and you go, "Am I detained or I'm free to go?" Instead of answering that, well, I'm conducting an investigation. That's not what I asked you. So they sidestep it so that they can't be held accountable because they didn't say, "Yeah, you're detained." Well, what crime am I committing? Well, I don't know. So in order to sidestep that, they go, "Well, I'm conducting an investigation." Well, if I'm not detained, I want to get the fuck out of here. Conduct your investigation by yourself. I don't have to cooperate.
It's also
you know, like
interesting.
he's saying,
The Ocean Star, when they wrote up those articles, there was like 4 or 5 articles that guy Tommy Waters wrote, and they were fair. They were fair articles, and they were somewhat favorable for us. But this last article, that guy Alex Dwyer, whatever his name is, that's the dude that replaced that young girl Adriana. He's brand new at this, and he just was a mouthpiece for what they said, and that's why that last article was shit. But that's the reason
and they
why.
don't want to piss them off because then they can't report because
Yes.
Daddy Cicero is like, no, you wrote something bad. But instead of doing an investigation into what we're alleging and whether or not that resolution is legal, and the other resolution that they sent me that says they'll throw you out for profanity if that's legal too. Have some fucking balls and investigate.
And
don't take my word for it. Look it up.
In September, that meeting that you weren't able to make it to, where Pat showed up, I was there, Lefty was there. At the end of the meeting, the mayor thanked the guy from the Shore Beat. He thanked 2 reporters, and there was 3 reporters in the room. He thanked 2 of them and did not thank Tommy.
Right, and that's it's almost like state-sponsored fucking media because if you double cross them, they're gonna not let you go to things. They're not gonna give you credentials from the township to go on crime scenes. Any kind of crime scenes or any kind of heads up, they're not going to tell you.
Yeah, you block.
But they'll tell the other guys because they cooperate and regurgitate what they want them to say. I mean, that's not what investigative reporting is, and that's why the media is fucking shit, whether it's national, local, whatever, because you guys don't have balls to report and investigate shit. You just regurgitate what the state-run media says to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why there's so many YouTube reporters out there that are unfiltered and give you the fucking news as they see it.
Yep.
They go out to protest, they go out to different things and show you what's going on. And not the government says you can't protest, so they arrested everybody and leave it at that. Investigate. What the fuck is the media doing? Even the local media. What you probably went to journalism school. I didn't go to journalism school, but I could certainly fucking investigate shit and report on it and do more than they ever could because they're stupid. I mean, here it is that we've been in activism. You guys have been doing cannabis. I've been doing a lot of the animal welfare stuff. I have case law in my name. We've gotten rid of the NJSPCA. We've gotten rid of a couple mayors. Gotten rid of a lot of different things, including shelter. Yet reporters that should be doing this stuff and following up on that kind of stuff don't. And then when they do, they side on the side of them because, well, if I double cross them, then I don't get access and I don't get this. I mean, if that's what Daddy Lucero does, then report on that. And everybody should stick by each other and say, this is what's going on.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, have some fucking balls and have some integrity to actually report and do investigation on your own.
Ricky,
it's not hard, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are reporters. Why aren't you going there recording the stuff? Why aren't you guys saying, wait, you guys can't do that? You guys have lawyers. We don't have lawyers. I can certainly read the law, and I believe after our thing today, I think that we're going to win. I think he's going to dismiss it, and we already have an attorney on not on retainer, but ready to rock and roll once it's once it's dismissed. So then,
And
and then they're going to report on our lawsuit, and I'm sure it's going to be, light on our side and kind of like they didn't do anything wrong.
Right. And for anybody who's watching, just know that Steve ripped this prosecutor a new asshole in the most respectful way, citing the premise of what we were doing there. And the law is on our side. They paid this guy $17,500. And to watch this guy try to conduct some sort of argument on his behalf or on their behalf, it was the most weakest thing I've ever seen. Even as the minutes passed by, this court date was at 11 o'clock. Every hour that passes by, I feel better about the whole way it went down. I feel confident. Yep. They have to dismiss it. This is just all part of the process. And you killed it, Steve. You did a good job in there today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, his argument was, well, our name's not on it. But the guidelines don't say our names have to be on it. Why do you need our names? Why does the government, even at the council meetings, why are they so interested in our names? Why are they so interested in where we live? I've had 3 times I've had cops show up my house, including the state troopers on October 13th on the behest of mayors.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they want your information. What they'll do is, and I've had it done to myself, all right, you guys are going to protest, you guys are going to do this and embarrass us and blah, blah, blah. All right, that's fine. We're not going to make a spectacle here and arrest you. So you have something to put up on video and viral and get against us. We're just going to send you a ticket in the mail.
Yep.
So you'll have the ticket, but you won't have a video to do anything with.
And in Medford, when Pat Duff was dealing with the stuff with the Carnes family and them being excessively fined for the unregistered vehicle on property, this and that, yada, 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 members of the public came out, at least a few of them, they spoke in favor of the Carnes. And the very next day, the mayor and council started batting emails back and forth with code enforcement and said, go to these people's houses, go to their addresses and see what you can find.
Yep.
So there's an example of retaliation, just like Steve is mentioning with the state police showing up. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why they want your name. They want to know your address. And it's to retaliate. It's to use their resources and attack you for something like striving for transparency. And who are the people who's going to be the vetting process for these public officials who are in the public capacity, which is all funded by tax dollars? It's a wild dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, in my town, in Spotswood, one of the cops just fucking filed a big whistleblower lawsuit, because of transparency. You could see all that stuff, and they're arguing, he violated Oprah and all this other stuff. It's a whistleblower lawsuit. She sold a $50,000 fire truck to Six Flags, a for-profit company, $2.2 billion company. And then her husband became the fire chief the next day. So amazing. You would think, all right, well, the county government should be investigating that. And that's a pretty cut and dry thing. And she should be arrested and charged with official misconduct and yada, yada, yada. Nope. Government doesn't go after government unless it's really heinous. So you have the power and authority. They got the power and authority and the power of the purse and the prosecutor and everything. Well, they'll give them $50,000 to go after us just to do it. So if this gets dismissed, who knows what they're going to do?
It's gonna get dismissed.
I mean, I'm pretty strong on it because the law is on our side. We did nothing to interfere with the meeting. In fact, the meeting hadn't even started because when you were talking, or when you recorded, before the meeting starts, they allowed everybody to go up and talk if they weren't going to stay for the whole meeting. So in my eyes, that's not the start of the meeting. And then they changed that to make it not so easy for us to go in there and rip them a new one. We had to wait until the entire meeting. I got time. I could do that. And this new resolution, I firmly believe that if you go in there to record, they're going to arrest you again.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
They think that they're covered with what they wrote in the law, and they're not. I'd like to seek an injunction on that, but at the same time, I'm pretty much done with going after the government because they have the resources to destroy you.
Oh yeah, imagine if you had taxpayer resources, dollars to just fight your stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's
So
silly.
if we had access like there is with Oprah, where if you sued and won, the lawyer would get paid, and let's say you got paid for damages, the government would go bankrupt tomorrow.
Yep.
But in order for you to sue, you have to put up so much money. If you're going after a cop, you got to put up 10 grand. I had one a couple of years ago where they said I was a convicted felon. I called around to attorneys and they're like, "Oh, 25 grand just to even start as a retainer." Well, I got 25 grand as a settlement. But you have to get an attorney to do it because it starts to get with the legal stuff, it starts getting crazy. But there's a possibility of you going after them, but you have to have an attorney to do it, and unless you have money, and then attorneys don't want to do that because then they look bad in the eyes of the government because it's all state run. The cops are the state, prosecutors are state, public defenders are state, the judges are state, and then you have a rogue guy that's nailing them. They don't like that, so then they start going after that attorney.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up system. It's all smoke and mirrors. You think you watch Erin Brockovich and there's a happy ending. People that are watching this, even at the meetings when we were getting arrested, it was like, oh, whatever. Like they're just troublemakers. No, I'm allowed to do what I'm doing. If I heard that they weren't allowing blacks into the library because of the color of their skin, I'd be there, and I'd hope that 100 other black people would show up too and say you're fucking wrong. It's not being a troublemaker. As John Lewis said, it's good trouble. If the government's breaking a law, they have to follow the same laws that we do, and we have to hold them accountable. But that takes years. Even like if they don't drop this, we hopefully the next time we go, hopefully they look at the public defender thing, and then the next time we get a public defender, so this is like a 3-4 year battle. And then if you want to go do something, let's say you want to go on vacation, I can't because I have to go to court. I can't because I have to do this. Oh, we're going to do this. I can't because I have to go to court. It's a 3-year process. It's not a easy thing. It's on their schedule for quick and speedy trial, not yours.
Yeah, and you're 100% right about the fact that that's why it's difficult to find lawyers who will fight these things because you're 100% correct that then the state goes after them. Mm-hmm. That's what they're worried about.
Yep, I've had it happen. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all state run shit. Just to, I tell people that are in the system, it's like whatever you got to do to get out of the system so they don't have your finger on you anymore. Do it, and then you could actually breathe again, and just don't do anything fucking crazy and get caught. Just live your life. But they want you in the system because you generate money for them. And they want you on probation for years so they can watch you generate money and keep you under control. I mean, the whole system's fucking smoke and mirrors. It's just insane what they do. I mean, we had a cop in Helmeta who was selling drugs out of his cop car. Never got charged. He's no longer a cop. I mean, how does that happen? He was under investigation. He was selling it right at a hotel.
What was he selling? Like prescription pharmaceutical drugs, Oxycontin, and shit like that?
Yep. We had one cop from Helmeta that went to the strip bar in his uniform with his gun on him, hitting on one of the strippers that he arrested for DUI.
Wow.
You can't make this shit up. I mean, the law, there's a different justice system for everybody, whether you're black, whether you're male, whether you're female, whether you're Puerto Rican, Spanish, white, if you have money, if you don't have money, if you have connections, you have a PBA card, you have this, that, there's one for everybody. So, you and I can get arrested. And let's say, my father knew some people and I got out of it and then I don't even get charged and you have to go through 3 years worth of trials and everything else. And I just walked away.
Yeah, no, you're right.
All the time.
the way we brand our country as we were all equal, men are created equal. Well, when did they say that, and what was going on in the country when they were referring to men? We are not. Nothing is equal, whether it's your work world, your personal life, this and that. I get pulled over by a police officer. The very first thing that goes through my head is, at least you're white, brother. It's fucked
Yeah,
up.
well, my thing is, I just want to be, treated respectfully, and I do say, how you doing, officer? I'm respectful to them. As long as like I got pulled over one time for tinted windows, and I had a sunscreen permit, and like, why'd you pull me over? The tinted windows. Well, that's a secondary offense, and I have a permit, so the stop's illegal. So that it's an illegal pullover. It's not like I go and if I get pulled over and I'm doing something wrong, you should be respectful to the badge. Not necessarily the person, but it's the badge that you're respectful to. But if they're breaking the law, they should be held accountable, and they never are. I mean, I filed a 2C charge on Adam LaCicero, and it's at the prosecutor's office. And mark my words, they're going to find some reason to drop it. But meanwhile, so if they drop our charges, if they dismiss that, that means he violated our civil rights and should be charged. Why is he being held up? Because he's a cop. I mean, right now, if you go on their Facebook page, on the Love Left Facebook page, and I encourage everybody to invoke their First Amendment right, because right now you can only comment on the latest post. All the other ones are restricted. Well, you can't do that under Van Wagner versus Yady. So if you look up Facebook, it was a $40,000 settlement they had to pay, and she had to reopen after she was no longer mayor. She had to re-put the page up and let everybody's comments go for like a month, and then she was able to take it down. But a government page, that's a public forum. You're allowed to post good, bad, or whatever. You're allowed to use profanity. They have profanity filters. They'll put up there on some pages. They'll have like you could do restricted words. So the is. So if you say any of those, you'll see on the post 5 comments, and then you can only read 4. Well, that's because that comment's hidden. That's illegal. It's a violation of your First Amendment rights, deprivation of civil rights, which is a 2C charge. Yet they do it all the time.
What was that mayor's name again, Steve? That woman?
Yady. So if you look up
Yady,
Facebook,
that's her. Jaeger or
Yady, Yaede. Yeah. If you look up Hamilton Mayor Facebook, I think it comes up. Mm-hmm. And it's a $40,000 lawsuit that they had to pay. They weren't seeking any kind of damages or nothing. They just wanted to be able to post on the government page. Yeah,
if I remember correctly, it was 3 members of the public who were involved in that lawsuit.
Yeah, I was going to do it. I know it was Van Wagner. There was another one that was, I think her last name was Borsha, Leah Borsha, which was an attorney. She posted on there, and then she deleted her comment. And because she's an attorney, she reached out to Rich Gutman, sued, and won.
Yeah. Yeah, and there should be a class action lawsuit against Lavalette for their government page and this restriction.
Try to find a lawyer to take it.
And that's the problem.
Now, when we do our 1983 lawsuit, we're going to be putting that in there. They're violating our civil rights.
100%. That's the only viable way to address this at this point. And that is the issue. Try to find a lawyer who wants to fight you with that.
Right. I mean, it's pretty basic common knowledge and just common sense that Facebook is a private entity, yes, but if you're a government page or a mayor or whatever, you have to take it the good and the bad. Like I was at a council meeting and everybody was clapping for something and I was booing, and they stopped the meeting and said, "You can't boo. You got to take the good and the bad."
You can't boo, you can't clap.
Correct.
No booing.
You have to laugh. If you allow criticism, you have to allow criticism both.
Now, but you know what, though? The saving grace is, as hard as it is to find, there are lawyers out there. There's not many, but they do exist. I have to hold on to that in a general sense,
Sure. I mean, if any lawyers are listening to this, the videos out there of our arrest, my YouTube channel is in this day and age. You can watch the videos. Mine's about a minute longer than I get arrested. Yours is even less than that. you want to take the case. If this doesn't get dismissed, I'll be happy to throw you on the federal lawsuit on the 1983. I mean, if not, we get the public defender if this doesn't, work, and we'll fight it that way. I mean, there's no way we can be found guilty of physically interfering with intent to disrupt the meeting, because our intent is clear. We wanted to record it, and we physically sat down in a chair and got arrested.
And had we done such conduct, Evan Crook would have touched on that entirely today at the hearing.
Correct.
So he
He's
said
like,
nothing.
oh, they got
about
up and they
he mentioned nothing
held
about
hands,
conduct.
said, yep.
So had we
said you
done
ignored.
anything in that regard, he would have been all over it.
He said you ignored the cop, but you didn't ignore the cop. You actually ignored his illegal instructions.
Well, I
Right.
remained silent, and there was no mention of ignoring anything in any motion to dismiss or anything that I ever stated. And that was what was kind of funny about it, because watching this high-priced attorney or his prosecutor, watching him trying to come up with whatever he could.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I'm like, well, I never even said that. So, but if the law is not on your side and you're trying to protect a client, that's what it looks like. That's what we watched.
Yeah, they're trying to save them from a lawsuit. And if you watch my video when I'm out in the hallway and I say, what am I being arrested for? He didn't say because you were physically interfering with intent to destroy the meeting. Oh, because I asked you several times if you have permission to record, and I go, I did. I have it. No, you don't. And then grab the envelope that I gave him, and he's like, is it in here? No, I have an email. I told you several times I'm allowed to record. I showed you the Supreme Court ruling, which you don't want to acknowledge. You don't want to read it, but yet you know it exists because you quoted from it. And then the other sergeant says, oh, the Public Meetings Act, you have to get permission. And he's a council member and he's an attorney.
Yeah. But he also said that to Chris Angulo, who's not as, he didn't respond. Like, if I heard him say that to me, I'd be like, wait a minute, hold up, let's just backtrack. What did you just say, Lamb?
Right. And that's why you need to research this stuff, because you can't get legal advice from a cop, because he's going to lie and he's allowed to lie. You can't lie to him, but he's going to lie to get what they want. So whether it's, a confession, hey, Mikey said that, you broke the window. No, I didn't break the window. He fucking did. Well, now I got you because you submitted to what you said. Meanwhile, you never said anything.
Yeah, that's the dark beauty in the whole way that all this works. You're only as free in this country as knowing what your limitations are and aren't. This stuff is not taught to you. You have to learn it through personal experience, and you have to inform yourself. You have to educate yourself. You have to do it at depth.
And I don't know everything. I know what I know, and sometimes
you only need to know
knowledge. You'll know enough to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, but in certain situations, you only need to know, like for instance, this whole instance, very educated on what we were doing, what was going on, what we could and couldn't do. The law is on our side. Therefore, we should have protection over this. There's nothing that we were unaware about, or there's just thorough understanding on the issue here. So
yeah, we looked up so any town, if you want to look at their ordinance in New Jersey, E-Code 360, the town, and then you could look at all the ordinances, or if you have a specific subject, you can do that. So I typed in council meetings. I don't think there's really anything on there. I did find that you had to get permission from the guidelines. I sought permission at the time, I didn't have the email address for the clerk, so I did a questionnaire thing on their face or on their regular website, which the attorney said. And I said in there, I want to record all meetings and it's my common law right. And then they responded with, here are the guidelines. Have a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not permission, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and I urge anyone who's listening, members of the public that decide that they want to go to a council meeting or anything like that, go to that website, go to E-Code 360, and just familiarize yourself with that town. That's the advice that Steve gave me, and now I do that every time.
A lot of times on Facebook, am I allowed to put a fence up? Am I allowed to do this? What does it say? And then, you always get the the Facebook experts that say everything, and it's like, look, here's the Eco 360, what you're looking for. Here's the town. This is what it says. Don't listen to anybody else. That's what it says. End of story. You know, I'm not going to interject my own opinions. Like if it says, you know, for whatever the case is, a shed, am I allowed to put a shed on my property? Here's the ordinance. You know, there's no argument. It is what it is. That's it. You know, and that's what we did. We looked up for the council meetings, what's legally required. You know, the resolutions, I don't agree with all of them, but part of the resolution is, let's say you're in the audience and you are clapping and you're the only one that's clapping, or you're talking out loud. Their resolution says that you'll be addressed the first time with a warning. We didn't get any warnings. We just got arrested. So they're not even they pick and choose what ordinances and what they're going to follow. You know, and then they're hypocrites because they'll follow some and they'll let Babs take fucking pictures and do what she wants to do. But then somebody from out of town, if you do the same exact thing, they'll arrest you for it.
Yeah, I mean, even Councilman Finter took a picture of Lefty the one meeting. Remember, he just pulled his phone out and just took a picture when he was up
I would
there.
ask for that. He should Oprah request that if he did it on the dais.
Yeah, he did when Lefty was doing the El Rempador bit.
Oh, ask for permission.
So Finter was like, "Yo, this is great. I got to get this photo." But what did he do in that moment?
So
and those rules are for
did
him.
that in Hamilton. I asked for, I think it was 2 pictures that the guy in the dais did of me when I was taking pictures of him. I sued for it. Cost him $2,500, and he had to give me the pictures.
Yep.
You know, if he waited to go out in the parking lot and do that, or outside, let's say the last council meeting that you guys were at with me, that's not a public record.
Yeah,
you did it as a government official on the dais. That's a public record.
Yeah, that's a very empowering piece of information for people to like understand and know that, just to understand how these meetings are conducted and what it all means.
Yeah, and Oprah's so powerful. You know, you can get email logs, you can get you know, Facebook stuff, Facebook messages, you know, emails. You can get all that kind of stuff with public records. You know, you can ask for settlement agreements. You can ask for.
You can find out how much it costs to put the red button underneath the mayor's seat.
Yeah, so supposedly there's a panic button for the mayor, and there's probably like that in a lot of towns where there's panic buttons in the municipal building. You can ask for the invoices for all the panic buttons that were installed in the municipal building. You can ask for that stuff. You can ask for manuals for, you know, their computer systems. You can ask for a lot of different things, and they have to provide it. And then if they don't, you can hire an attorney, or you can retain an attorney, and it costs you nothing. I've only been one time to court, and that was on a Zoom call with the Monmouth County when I sued the Monmouth County prosecutors last year. The judge died the next day, which is really unfortunate. Judge Thornton was a phenomenal judge. She ripped them apart at that thing, but now I have to wait until that's over with. But usually I sign on my phone, and 6 months later I hear I won, and I'm like, all right, well, how much money did you get? You know, just because I like to stick it to the man. When the man says you can't have something that you're legally allowed to have, you sue for it. And you keep suing them, and you sue them into submission, and they're not following the law. You know, when you're not following the law, they arrest you. When you're not following the law, you have to sue them and win.
And you are precisely correct. It doesn't cost you anything to do these Oprah requests and these kinds of things. But I look at it as I've already paid for it. This is a whole funded system by tax dollars. So I've already paid for it. I'm good on the credit. So this information is not only should be available, but it's mine. It's mine to obtain as I choose.
Correct. You know, we paid for it. We paid for what the, you know, and when these guys screw up, let's say a town screws up and then everybody starts bombarding them. You know, I had that in Spotswood. Well, you know, we're getting inundated with Oprah requests. That's great. That has nothing to do with me. Hire more people. You guys fucked up. Now you're in the news, so everybody's Oprah requesting you, so you need to hire more people. Because that's not a justifiable legal reason for me not to get what I want within 7 business days. You know, if 30 people ask for 7 different things, I'm only one person. That's not a voluminous amount of things for one person. You might have a voluminous amount of emails with Oprah requests. Has nothing to do with me. And they tried doing that here. And I've been fighting now to get a video of the mayor that's on body-worn camera. At first, they said, we don't know what you're talking about. But meanwhile, with that lawsuit just came out in Spotswood, they sent the videos to the prosecutor's office because she was racist in them. They don't want me to have those because as soon as I publish it, she's going to have to resign.
Mm-hmm.
What did she say?
So body-worn cameras are. She said that, let's face it, we're not a diverse town here. But the elephant in the room is we're not a diverse town here. He's black and he needs to get out of the building because he's scaring everybody. He might come out and not be on medication and shank me. It's all in a lawsuit.
Wow.
Yeah, if you go on the Spotswood Borough page, scroll down. Now, the lawsuit was updated a little bit, but 99.9% of it's the same exact lawsuit. So you can read the lawsuit and see exactly what she said. And I'm sure that's quoted directly off the videos. The stuff was sent to the prosecutor's office. Why is he still a mayor?
People in government, they all have different personalities, but you only get a few of them who have that shit smirk grin on their face. She's one of them. She's up there. She does that.
Oh, yeah.
She's good for that all day. And not too many are like that. It's always a little wild. It's like,
it's not illegal to be racist, or maybe it is. I don't know. But, if you have those feelings in your head, great, whatever. Just treat everybody normally and treat everybody right, and you'll be fine. We're all humans. We're all going through this rock of a planet. There's no reason for it. I'm no better than anybody else. And they even called the prosecutor's office because she wanted them thrown out, and that's a civil rights violation. You can't throw the guy out. I mean, I got charged for going to the Office of Aging, recording in there because they blocked me on their Facebook page from being able to comment and stuff. And they wanted me trespass. I got the body-worn cameras for that. And then they shut the building down because they said, I quote, it's the only way we can get them out of here. So they violated my civil rights. She charged me with like 3 different counts. I charged her. Everything was dismissed because she's in the wrong. I mean, deprivation of civil rights, official misconduct, you can't do what she did. But they're protected because they're part of the government. You're seen as an instigator. Well, they're working there. They have to be there. And you're coming in. You don't have to be there. And you're just here to start trouble. Yeah, I'm here because I'm a taxpayer. I'm allowed to be here. There's nothing saying I'm not allowed to be here. I mean, it's absurd. It's all smoke and mirrors. Everybody does whatever they want. It's these corrupt individuals that are in these government entities that just rape what they're supposed to be doing for their own benefit and for how they see fit. Even though the laws are out there that say they can't do what they're doing, they do it anyhow. They just don't give a shit. It's like recording a meeting. Well, there's a lot of law says I can do what I'm doing. Yeah, you're under arrest. Here's the Supreme Court ruling. Like, dude, read it. Nah, I'm not looking at it. You're under arrest. Like, I don't want to get arrested. Who wants to be arrested? They stuck me in a jail cell and you for 2 hours until the meeting was over.
And like I told the judge, you told him as well. I've been to over 100 towns in this state. I've filmed just about every time and never had a problem. Never been arrested.
I've been recording for 10 years at council meetings and public meetings. The NJSPCA, I did those for like 3 years. They were disbanded. We recorded them and as a videographer, journalist, my videos have been shown on, Channel 7, Channel 4, Channel 11, Channel 12. They've been in Asbury Park Press, so it's okay for citizen journalists to go out there and gather content and gather what's going on in the government because these journalists are just mouthpieces for the government. They don't report on what's going on. They don't ask those questions. They don't investigate. They do nothing but regurgitate what the government wants them to say.
And they never reach out. And they never reach out to the people who are in the story ever.
Right. Right. Yeah, I had that with NJ.
I find that the best
1015.
part.
Yeah, I call in and tell them, like when Officer Racine and Helmeta said, Obama decimated the freaking Constitution, so if you don't follow it, we don't have to follow it. It's like, what? And then he stuck by that, and they were sticking by him. He called the radio station and was like, yeah, I said what I said after he had to resign. And I'm sure the guy's a good guy, but you can't see that in uniform.
Hi, Martha. Hi, Duff.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Pat?
Hey, criminals.
We're not convicted yet.
Hi.
So I got to tell you, I mean, from what that prosecutor said, you guys seem pretty dangerous.
Someone to be worried about.
Yeah.
Fuck out of
Dude.
here.
Mike, with that beard, I wouldn't let you near my child.
Well, Pat, we don't have to, if I come over your house, Pat, I'm trying to see you. I'm trying to go to get a slice of pizza with you. So we'll meet at the pizza place. How about that?
That works better with that beard.
The best part about like first off, I love my haircut. I love my beard, and it's only matters if I like it.
Yeah, that's.
Yep.
I didn't say nothing, did I? I actually did say something, I guess.
Yeah, but like, and plus, if people don't like things, I like that. I like when people are upset by the way I look or the bong I'm wearing or whatever.
Yeah,
I like it.
You guys would have actually had a
do.
good time at that event, that Canna Fair.
Yeah.
Oh, how was that, That was good?
It was good. Yeah, it was a good time.
Nothing like the New Jersey Expo?
No, there was no disgusting prostitutes, showing their buttholes.
Damn.
I'm not really into that.
Well, I guess we got Pennsylvania beat there. Hey!
That was the sponsor.
You know what? I would call them a bunch of jerk-offs, but that's what they do for a living.
Hey, Pat, today during the meeting, did you hear Mikey or Steve say anything about ignoring the police's order, or because
what he said was that he tried to he basically tried to not respond to the officer, is what he said. I'm not sure exactly which words he used, but he had mentioned that he was trying, the officer was talking to him, he was intentionally not responding to him. That's all.
I was attempting to remain silent, is what I said.
Attempting to remain silent. There you go.
That might have been it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he misconstrued a bit. But that's your right to do that. I mean,
and which I ultimately didn't remain silent. So,
yeah, well, it's your right to do that too.
But that's why the whole thing's a sham, because I can walk into that public space with a camera and I don't have to answer questions. This is Nazi Germany. I don't have to tell you who I am, prove where I live, which then tells me my pay rate, if it's on Beach Boulevard or if it's on Martin Luther King Boulevard. I just
and a lot of times when you respond to them, then they go, well, you're making a disruption now, because now, you're talking and you're having a conversation. So now you're breaking the law. If we don't have you on anything else, because you're responding to me now it's a disruption. So now you have to leave. I mean, we're equal. We didn't break the law. I don't want to talk to you, and he stood in front of me, grabbed my camera, grabbed your camera. So, I mean, I feel I was detained, and the law says I was detained.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I mean, he took my camera immediately.
I mean, if you ask me, there's 3 outs that you have. You have the out of the fact that they didn't use the warning. You have the out of the fact it's not constitutional, and you have the out of the fact that common law allows you to do it.
Right, and then we have the permission. And I mean, nothing in there says that we have to give our name.
That's another thing that you should have asked, because if you read their own rules, who do you ask for permission? It doesn't say in there. Who do you get permission from? It doesn't.
No, it says the clerk.
It says the clerk.
It's in the guidelines. It says the clerk. Now, but Lucero always goes, you have to get it from the BA, you have to get it from this. He never says the clerk, but that's where you have to get it. So he didn't even read the ordinances or the resolution.
Correct when he said that, yeah.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to get it from anywhere.
No, again, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest.
But I did go there. I mean, if I could, I'd go there with a shirt that said, fuck the mayor, and sit there and then record, and they're gonna arrest you.
Yeah, well,
They'll arrest you without the shirt.
Guaranteed.
you guys have already achieved that. So I mean,
Yeah, and when we do our federal lawsuit, we're gonna put that in there that they put that new resolution in there, and the other thing, saying that you can't use any kind of profanity, which you can. Roosevelt versus New Jersey and Cohen versus California. And we're going to put in there, too, that they're violating our civil rights by blocking everybody on Facebook, on the police department's Facebook page, which is also illegal, deprivation of civil rights, because it's a government page. It's a public forum. You're allowed to post on there. And it's restricted. Although right now you can post on there on the last post that they have. They didn't restrict it yet.
Oh, they will.
Oh, I know. They forgot to do that one. So Mikey and I have been posting all over it.
You at least like my haircut, Pat? What about the haircut?
I mean, when it goes to the beard, it's very creepy.
The beard is where I lost you.
It's the hair with the beard, like, for some reason, and I guess the neck tattoo adds to it a little bit, like. But it's okay.
I feel you on it. It is a whole vibe with neck tattoo and everything.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Most child molesters just look normal, so you can't say anything. You can't say, "Oh, you look like some sort of weird pedophile," or something, because they look like teachers.
That is true. That is true.
You definitely look like some sort of like porn star, though. Like you have some porn star.
Now we're breaking it down. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, but it's a gay porn star, though.
Well, that makes it a little different. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody for how they choose to live, but if you're saying that changes a little bit. With Mikey and Pat.
What's going on? It's Pat Duff calling Mike a gay porn star.
Hey, liked it until I heard the gay part.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I think it went well for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully by next week we'll have the opinion.
He never answered me as to if I could video it, and I sent in a form and everything.
Did he grant you permission?
No. I was at ShopRite anyway. I couldn't get to my house, so right. I just was like listening to it while I was in the line, and people are thinking I'm the one in court and shit. Like I'm a lawyer, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think his argument is bad. Oh, they didn't give a name. Well, this email really isn't permission. Even though it states in there that I'm going to be recording all the meetings, and he sends us the guidelines, and hey, have a great weekend.
Yeah, how that granted permission could be misconstrued. He's saying that holds no weight in his position. Like,
what's the name again? Crook. What was his first name?
Evan. Even Crook. Evan Crook. He's like a district trial judge in
Malmut. He works for Malmut.
Yeah, Malmut.
Yeah, and his argument was, nothing about what we're charged with. The fact that we didn't listen to the cop.
Well, I mean, I don't think he was grasping. He was just trying to say that there was grounds for a further hearing. So, I mean, but yeah, this guy. So Malmut, just so you guys, I don't know if you know Malmut, like from where I'm from. Malamute is it's a very big like township firm, and they do all the the councils and stuff around where I'm at. So it makes sense that they brought him up there because he protects all the people's asses around Burlington County.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So these are the there's Parker McKay and Malamute. Parker McKay is Norcross's firm. Malamute, a guy named Adam Malamute, who owns it, who basically is like the Burlington County version of Parker McKay for Norcross. Kind of controls townships, makes sure contracts come to him. So yeah, this is it's interesting because this guy's he's not a cheap attorney. So
well, they hired him for 17,500.
yeah, I mean I gotta say that I think that's the most interesting part is that they went out to hire this person just specifically for you guys to prosecute. Yep. I mean that itself could be some sort of prosecutorial like
selective punishment.
Yeah, selective prosecution. Like why? What's the point of just you two needing the need for this extra attorney to come in? I mean,
right? Like, why do you got to dig in your pockets for these guys?
Right, and a lot of money too. So we know we're going to lose, but we'll hook you up with a nice little contract.
Well, they're also probably friends too. So hey,
I wonder where the connection is.
You protect me, we all right.
It looked like they all drink together.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part about it. Is right, Pat. It's weird that our arrest that results in this guy having 17.5 in his pocket. That is weird.
Hey, nice.
Mikey, why do you have a pink room?
Because pink is the softest color. Color is energy, and I fucks with it.
Jesus Christ!
I know. I'm a whole vibe over here, gentlemen.
Like fucking Pepto-Bismol over there.
Well, I told you,
it's like Barbie pink, bro.
I told you, right?
Huh?
I knew I was right about you.
You guys, I have such great friends.
Yoo-hoo.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it went really well. I think they really have no argument, and that's why you're like Pat saying that he's grasping at straws because his argument wasn't even that we disrupted the meeting, and then he said we can record it, and
right, like had we actually been disruptive, you think he would have mentioned that? He would have been like, "Yeah, but you guys were disruptive." Like, so he never even touched on that. He's trying to.
Yeah, like I say, if let's say we didn't like what was going on in town and we decided to hold hands in the middle of the thing and say you're not starting a meeting, that's intent and that's physical. We did nothing like that.
Yeah, and by the way, Crook was 5 years as a judge in Burlington County.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he should know that you're allowed to do what we did.
He knows, but like Pat said, this is what he does.
Yep, he's there to protect us.
And he's got to represent his side. He can't come in and go, guys, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, he should if he was smart, but remember he gets paid the longer this case goes on.
Yeah.
So that's 17.5. It could be, 30 grand by the end of this.
Right. I mean, I'm hoping that, it gets dismissed within like a week. What do you think the turnaround time for the opinion is?
It's going to be at least 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because they're doing shit, They go back and listen to it again. But I think that you're, that the fact that they spent 17.5 is something that community should know. So, I would go onto their fucking Facebook pages and let people know, like, I don't know what's happening here, but your township has just gone out and retained an extra solicitor, on top of the solicitor you guys already pay.
Well, yeah, but when you do that, they block you. They don't want nothing to know with that.
So are you guys on any pages that I'm on a couple pages they didn't block me from?
Well, yeah, I'm on a few, and then
the Lavalette is strong is their like main page.
Yeah, and anything you post against them, they just block you.
On that page, yeah, you got to be real, like, careful. You say anything that's like heavily opinionated, you're gone.
Yeah, they launched me from that one.
I mean, it's important information, and they want their heads in the sand. They don't give a shit.
I I can see you guys now, though. Oh, geez, you're real nice. Criminals. Lucero family are criminals.
Criminals, damn it. Somebody else do something. This is an outrage. I'm upset and I want the world to know.
Oh, my God. You're putting pictures of the guy, too.
Yeah, that was on his Facebook page.
Mike, that looks like you a little bit.
Oh,
I show that to people and they're like, "Get the fuck out of here." That's the chief of police. I'm like, "Yeah."
That
Oh shit!
I mean, it's bizarre.
He's got
Bro, I do not look like Christian LeCicero. Come on.
He's got a crazy little man trail going down to his banger.
What?
To his vagina.
And you can tell he's naked right there. He's just in front of that basket.
Yeah.
See the little part of his hip there? I'm gonna get into this. Oh no, he's wearing pants.
Wait, show me this. Show me this picture. What are you looking at?
Go to Lavalette Police Department's Facebook page.
It's Mr. Lucero with his shirt off, and I got to tell you, I mean, he has beautiful chest hair, and I love his like I said, his beautiful little line of hair running down to his bangers and mash.
He probably feels so important right now, listening to us right now on the podcast talk about him.
Lavalette Police Department?
You know what?
Yeah.
But if you notice, his nipples are very far apart. It's
got like a blue thing on it, like they're crest or something.
He could be inbred.
He is inbred.
I'm going to make you co-host so you can share it. Share your screen. I want to see what you're looking at.
Oh, no. I'll just turn my camera around here.
Oh, there you go.
That's off his Facebook page.
Ah!
I can't find his the Lavalette Police Department here.
It's got like a blue thing on his.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's the cap. That's the police chief.
Chief.
Yep. That's the chief.
Look, Bear. Look at that. Bear. Look at this.
Yeah, can we get in on that a little tighter?
Look at that.
There it is.
You can't make this shit up.
Looks like John Belushi.
Right?
Don't be it.
Look at the beautiful man trail right there. The man trail going right down to the
well, I think that's the purpose of the photo, is to show off that man trail.
Yeah, and he's saying, ladies, I know I'm standing in front of trash, but I'd like you to see my trash.
You know what he's doing? He's covering up his junk with his junk.
Oh,
He thinks he's funny.
look at that.
Check out my junk. That's probably what he wrote when he sent this to someone. He was like, "Yo, check out my junk."
My name is Locta. My name is Locta.
Oh God, yeah, it looks like him.
He looks like a police officer from the 70s.
Yeah,
What a handsome guy, though.
I will say he's the better looking LeCicero out of him and Adam.
Let's go back to him again.
Adam's like doofy.
Putting the bar low.
yeah, he reminds me of Doofy.
He's doofy, yeah. He's
Those nipples.
Trying to see.
Can you
That
come
is
up-
a trash. Yeah, it's disgusting because there's like what do you call that?
tampons and stuff.
No, like Q-tips. You can see it just got done Q-tipping. And
You gotta keep the belly button. When you're proud of the man trail like that, you keep the belly button super clean with
there's
Q-tip.
hair.
Wait, tap the screen. Tap the screen because it's out of focus.
Yeah, it's like blurry.
There
Okay,
you
there we go.
No, do it again.
Inside the trash can. Why want to go give me a good shot?
You were in focus before.
Yeah. Is there an insulin syringe in there?
Maybe it's heroin.
Why won't it let me get the thing in the focus anymore? All right, there we go.
Is there a needle all the way on the right?
No, that's a Q-tip.
Oh, okay.
Ew.
But in the middle is like freshly like trimmed pubic hair.
I think that's what that is. Yeah, that's his ball hair.
Oh. Oh.
I think he just trimmed up.
He did. He's like, check it out. I'm looking good, right?
All right.
He was looking for reinforcement.
That's enough. That's enough. We're
He
gonna.
needed reinforcement from this photo. That's why he took it, and that's why he sent it.
I gotta cleanse the palate here. We're gonna
Yo,
bring
think
out
about
Matt.
that. When he posted that, that was a proud post.
We're-
Think about that. That's wild.
let's cleanse the palate here. Let's bring on Matha from Butter Cake. Matha from Butter Cake. She testified She was testifying at the CRC meeting this week. I was like amazed at her testimony. Thank you for testifying, Martha. Can you hear us?
Hey, Pat, I just put up a new one. Check the page out.
Oh, Math is probably like, get me the
Yeah,
frick
she's
out.
like, what did you sign me up for, Lefty? These people
Right,
are
I love how
crazy.
Lefty just called for a palate cleansing.
We need to cleanse the palate because we're looking at Sergeant Cicero.
He's looking for love now.
I want to talk about home grow and why we don't have home grow. And Martha nailed it on the head. And Kristen's with us too from Trichome Analytics.
Yay!
Hey, Crystal. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, hey.
If you were listening, I'm sorry.
I was not. What's going
Great.
on?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good.
Well-
How are you doing?
Good, Martha. Since you were here first, how's Butter Cake going? What's going on with you? And what's Butter Cake all about?
I'm okay. I'm on the road right now. I just left the kitchen in Delaware, trying to make it back up to Jersey before the snow becomes a problem for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is the life that the CRC basically put me in because, the process to get licensed in New Jersey is just so strenuous. I started my business in 2015 in the underground, under-regulated, not regulated. I don't know what people want to fucking call it these days, but that's what I've been doing this whole time, just making fire edibles. And so I wanted to try my hand at the legal market, and they basically told me I had to shut down my operation to do so. So for like 2.5 years, I wasn't able to generate any income. And then I partnered up with Columbia Care, and that's how I ended up in Delaware, launching product in the legal market before I could do it in New Jersey. And then just, I don't know, fighting with these regulators 24/7, just trying to get things to be better put together for regular people that are not zillionaires, because I'm certainly not one of them. And I don't think that the process should have been this difficult. So that's kind of been one of my biggest battles these days, is just trying to get them to put regulations and legislation in place that actually works for real life people, which is part of the reason why I'm totally supportive of home grow, because in the legacy days for me, all of the weed I was using was coming from freaking amazing home growers. And I would hate to see them not be able to continue doing what they're doing, all because some idiot with a pen just doesn't get it. So I'm here to like really support anything that you guys got going on with the home grow movement. Butter Cake's here for it because we kind of are of the notion that we're for the people by the people kind of situation.
Woo-hoo. Love
Yeah.
Butter Cake.
Thanks, guys.
And Kristen, you're from Trichome Analytical. That's a testing facility.
Yes, I started Trichome Analytical in about 2018 after the new legislation was introduced that would allow medical testing by third-party laboratories. So previously, I managed an environmental and industrial hygiene testing laboratory that operates under similar accreditations that a cannabis lab does operate under. So we were the first lab operational in New Jersey, the only non-MSO lab currently operating in New Jersey as well. And we started testing on the hemp side in 2020 and received our adult use license within that first round as the first state-approved cannabis lab.
Are you having any issues also as far as being a cannabis lab, getting approvals and delays and stuff like that? Or are you ready up and running?
So we're already up and running. I've been involved in getting this set up since 2018. I partnered with the owner of the laboratory that I previously managed to start Trichome Analytical. So we were in a somewhat separate kind of position than I think a lot of people starting off now, where we already had a location set out in 2018. We worked with the township to make sure all of the zoning was correct. I did have to go to a zoning meeting, and that it did take time, but this was back prior to the adult use legalization. So it was probably a little bit faster than it would be now to get those approvals. And as a cannabis laboratory, we're not, buying or selling anything or producing product. We're just simply testing it. So we're outside of the supply chain, and we act as like a check to the supply chain. So we have less issues getting approval. We're also DEA registered, so we did that to start testing on the federal level and testing under the USDA hemp program and things like that. So the requirements for DEA registration for Schedule 1 substances and handling the sort of set us off in the right path to get all of the other state approvals quickly.
Do you guys test for pesticides too?
Yeah, so we test not only for like cannabinoid and terpene potency, but for contaminants such as pesticides, heavy metals, mycotoxins, different types of microbial pathogens, quality indicators on the micro side, like total yeast and mold or total aerobic bacteria, as well as like residual solvents in concentrates and extracts. We also test for other contaminants that have been found, such as like vitamin E acetate, which is used as like a cutting agent for vape cartridges, generally not in the regulated market, but that has been found outside of the regulated market.
And then what is that required for New Jersey? All those tests for the different products, or what's required for New Jersey?
Yeah, so for flour in New Jersey, we test for cannabinoid potency, terpene profile. That's the potency analysis. We test for moisture content and water activity. So those are just kind of quality indicators, make sure that it's properly dried and cured. As for the contaminant analysis, we do heavy metals, pesticides. There are 48 different pesticides that are included in the mandated New Jersey panel at the moment. We also test for mycotoxins. So those are toxic compounds produced by different types of mold. We test for total yeast and mold, which is, not differentiating, not saying if it's beneficial yeast or mold or harmful, but just like kind of a total count of how many types of the quantity of yeast and mold. Similarly, we test for total aerobic bacteria on flour. So that could also be like beneficial microbes that are used in organic grows or harmful microbes. And then we also test for some more pathogenic types of microbials, such as E. coli and salmonella.
And let's say you find something wrong with a batch. What works? How does that? Do they get another chance to try to retest a different portion of the batch? How does that work?
So for flour, if they fail, it's generally like the biggest failure point in any state program would be for mold. So they are allowed, if they fail for like a total yeast and mold test, they are allowed to remediate that product through, either processing that into an oil or through irradiation or other decontamination processes.
So they like microwave the mold out, for lack of better terms?
It's more like an X-ray, but yeah, pretty much. It disrupts the actual the mold and the microbes, and it basically kills them off.
I've heard about laboratories doing that. Yeah.
And have you like when they do that, do you retest it after it's done?
Yeah, it does require to go through that whole compliance test again. So even if it only failed for yeast and mold, we retest it for all of those mandated panels. So cannabinoid potency, terpenes, if there was any, depending on like the remediation technique, if it reduced the potency, that would be reflected in that final report.
In most situations, do they always usually make oil after that point? Is it usually converted to oil, or is it possibly even resold back as flour, or how does that work?
It really depends on the organization, the cultivator, the access that they have to whatever decontamination technologies that are approved by the state. But it would not be uncommon if that was still sold as flour. But certain cultivators or don't have access to the decontamination technology because of the radiation, for example. I mean, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on one machine to do that. Especially smaller grows, they cannot afford that type of technology, in which case those producers more often would just either sell it to a manufacturer or manufacture it themselves into oil to kill all the the microbial contaminant.
Are you a flower smoker?
Yes, I smoke flower.
Would you smoke flower that was molded and then radiated?
Yeah, I probably have smoked just moldy flower. And
I'm saying you had a choice, like
if I had a choice between like the moldy flour and then the radiated, or
good flour and
yeah.
flour that was moldy and then radiated to be sellable.
I know I wouldn't smoke it. They
Yeah,
could
I
keep
wouldn't.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's worse than just mold in it.
Should there be
Definitely.
there should be some sort of marking on that product at that point, don't you think? I mean,
There should
Yeah.
have to be. For public health concerns and reasons. I would think that would be a necessity.
But
So yeah, and this technology is also used in like the food produce industry, especially for imports from other countries. Like they irradiate all of that stuff so that it doesn't spread any food-borne pathogens. And that is mandated to be labeled actually appropriately with the with like the FDA symbol that's required. And that is something that I would be in support of introducing into the cannabis industry, so people know if their cannabis has been irradiated, just as they know if their food has been irradiated.
Yeah, for sure. That's because that's a
Not
big
marked.
problem even in the food industry. It's
Yeah.
it gets lost a lot in translation with the consumer. And those things should be like stop sign bright, detour bright kind of thing for everybody. That's just my opinion on that. Consumers should be able to make the healthiest choice as to whether it be food or their cannabis that they're intaking, at least so they know what they're working with.
Who does this radiation or X-ray?
Well, there's different companies that provide like the equipment to do this. But it's generally something that the cultivator has on site that they would do either as a kill step, so prior to it, like right after it's dried and cured, or in response to a failure from a test batch.
Is that a larger? What kind of like what percentage of business is that? Like in the lab, like for instance, the Trichome Laboratories that you're involved in. How much does that make up for? Like,
well, we don't do any irradiation here.
You guys don't do that.
No,
how about flour that comes through with mold and needs to be retested?
Yeah, we don't provide the.
Okay, because I felt like you guys were, and I felt like we were like beating around the bush on that. I thought that was the point.
What about what percentage of flour that you test has issues?
It's really cultivator dependent, honestly. I would say at the beginning of testing in New Jersey, because the program had been so messed up for so many years, the failure rate for use in mold was over 50%.
Woo!
Wow.
Well, if you don't test for mold for 10 years and then you're growing in the same facility, you're bound to
right. Fair enough.
Curaleaf, I call it the Curaleaf cough.
Yeah.
So all that weed got remediated, I guess, right? And we probably did smoke it. We didn't know it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, most likely. I can't comment beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, Curaleaf would be the company using that technology and trying to, save, all their product as most efficiently as they could, regardless of the quality of the end product.
Well,
Yeah.
Matt, was that some of the issues that you had with butter cake? Was all the over-regulation in New Jersey, and for a small business, you have to play by the same rules as these MSOs, and a delay for you is a lot different from a delay for an MSO, or a failed crop for you, or a failed batch for you would be a lot different than a failed batch for an MSO.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel everything like 10 times more than a big company that brings in millions would, because to be very, very frank, like we haven't even brought in our first 100,000 yet. So every single penny right now counts. It's just, I'm really lucky that I don't have to really deal with remediation and stuff like that. Just like Kristen was saying, that's really like the cultivators situation. By the time raw material gets to me, it's not even flour anymore. It's generally distillate or, whatever other solvent list I could get my hands on that's available in the market from other manufacturers that do extractions and things like that. So I depend on them to provide me with clean raw material. And then I turn my raw material around to Kristen, who I actually use for all of our testing and stuff like that. But I turn it around to her to make sure it's clean before I turn it into a butter cake product.
How much does a test cost for what flour?
For like a full panel compliance for flour, it would be around $400.
Hmm.
Very interesting. I know Andrea has a lot of interest in terps because she has terps that she can't use and terps that she can use. And she's trying to find her terp profile. And do you guys, how many terps have you guys found? And is there a way to break down like what Andrea needs, what terps that she needs, and how to find her terp profile?
Yeah, so our typical terpene panel includes 36 different compound types of terpene that we test for the levels of each of those. I would say common in cannabis, there's maybe top 10, top 14 that are common in different varieties, but there are minor terpenes that, like talking with Andrea, she did mention there one on our panel that is not typically on other lab panels. And I think that has to also do with the instrumentation that we use. So we do run it through a GC mass spec where that allows us to quantitate and identify more compounds than a PCFID detector, which a lot of cannabis labs use because it's cheaper and you can run more samples through that.
What terpene is that?
I think it's a Dream is the one that she was looking for, which isn't common in cannabis cultivars as a dominant terpene. It would be a minor terpene, but could be concentrated in, extracts and things like that for that higher potency that I know she requires in her tinctures and mixes.
Even for fully extract cannabis oil, that's strain specific for her. I never thought about that, but yeah, strain specificity for that, it's that's a big deal.
Which is why we need home grow for medical patients so that people can make the medicine that actually serves them. Me as a manufacturer, I can't guess for every single patient in the state. And I really, it would relieve actually some pressure for people like me that genuinely care about making products to help people. It would relieve pressure if I knew that they could grow their own medicine. And that's as a licensed operator.
Yeah, I mean, there's just certain varieties that they won't grow within the program because it takes too long to harvest, and they don't want those types of plants within their program because it messes up their perpetual harvest schedule. So there are certain cultivars that you're just not ever going to find on the legal market because it doesn't make them enough money.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen, we've tested products from all over, and there's definitely more genetic diversity, I think, in like the homegrown products and things like that, as far as the minor cannabinoids and minor terpene profiles versus, what we see coming through the program, which is just more catered towards the adult use crowd. So it's just, they're just trying to push THC results and will cater towards that. They're not providing a lot of unique genetics.
I know, like, if you have diabetes, there's a strain called Durban poison, which has something called viratamine in it. And you don't see that a lot because it's a very, you don't make a lot of money off Durban poison. It's not a plant that you make a lot of money off. And, this is what patients need. Like if you're a diabetic, you want to grow that strain because, these dispensaries aren't selling it because they're not making money off it, but you need it. So you grow it. Very simple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get there from here? How do we get home grow?
I think we're already in motion, getting the right people involved, making our voice collectively that much louder, having leaders push the paperwork up the ladder, getting the governor's ear on this and eventually getting the ink flowing out of his pen, because I think that that's really what it is. So I think with some patience and us continuing to push more and more and more, we're going to get there.
Yeah, we got to be persistent and tenacious, because
Yeah.
if they want a bill passed, believe me, it'll pass. They fast tracked that ethics bill real quick.
Mhm.
It was like a week. Like, whoa.
Yeah, the bill has support and it will pass if it can go to vote. It's just we have to get Scutari to let it go to vote. And also we are pushing for the plant canopy amendment to allow for a more reasonable area, and so that patients can hunt and provide actual medicine for themselves or their caregiver to the patient. So I think that's, our main focus right now. We know that there's support. We just need Scutari to acknowledge it, hold a hearing on it, make our case for the plant canopy area, and hopefully, they would amend the bill as needed for that.
Are they receptive towards the plant canopy, or they want plant count?
They from speaking with Senator Singleton's office, they are open to changes to the legislation. I have given them many comments regarding plant canopy. They seem to understand it, find it reasonable, but I haven't seen anything in writing that would reflect their efforts to actually amend the bill.
Yeah, Troy Singleton's been very helpful. Everyone's on board. It's just Senator Scutari who's not even putting it up for an informational hearing. They won't even talk about it. Like, what are we hiding here? These are sick and dying people.
Yeah, and I know that we are also trying to gather industry support. So support from the NJCBA, the NJCTA, who are both in support of medical home cultivation, for them to come out with public comments on this, to try to combat the arguments Scutari is making that the industry isn't ready.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Like, even the UFCW, they're going to write a letter to Scutari also as an organization in favor of home grow. So that's going to happen. So a lot of people are getting on board for this big push. We have to get it this session. We have to.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it looks like there is a good opportunity for it to pass within the first quarter of this year.
So we're going to be out there next week on Thursday, a week from now. Hot box for home grow. We have a big glamping tent. We have a heater in case it's cold, which it will be. And we're going to hot box for home grow. And we're going to go inside the building also. And you can also lobby in the building. It's the first day of the new session. So feel free to go in the building. And if you see Senator Scutari or Senator whoever, just grab their ear. That's what it's called, lobbying, because you go into the lobby, you catch them in the lobby, and you grab them. So it's the oldest game in the book, except, we're sick and dying patients. We don't have the money that these lobbyists have, but we do have time. So if we can go there and just spend time in the hallway, spend time at the State House with signs, put a few minutes in, and then it'll pay off. The more people we have out there, the better. And I think it's going to pay off in the long run.
Well said. I agree.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this session, and I'm excited for next week. I got my goggles. Here, I got my, where are my goggles? Because I can't, when I go to hot boxes, my eyes always bug me. So I bought goggles. I don't know if you can see them. All right, I got them on. You can't really see them.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, these are cool. I'm ready. Now I'm ready to hot box for home grow. Mike, I got you a pair if you need one. I got an extra pair.
Goggle bros.
Goggle bros.
You have to get that tent super smoky, and I have a feeling it will be.
I can't wait to. I love it. I love it. No tobacco. Only cannabis. If you have tobacco, we're kicking you out.
With our goggles on. The goggle guys are going to tell you got to get out.
The chemicals. Hey, are we allowing blunts? Can you smoke a blunt though? Does that count?
I've always said yes. I know some people are iffy about that because of the wrap, but I've always said yes on that because I love
What,
blunt. But
what's the consensus here? Can we do a blunt in a hot box? Kristen, is that good?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right.
or,
Martha, we're good with that.
Yeah, of course. But you know,
All
I'm
right.
always gonna say edibles first.
Edibles first. Yes.
Word. And I'm always going to eat it first and then ask you how many milligrams it was.
How much was that?
So how much am I going to get?
Oh, I didn't know. If I had only known.
There's no bad answer to that,
Question,
right? Like when you find out
guys.
how many milligrams are in.
What are you guys looking for from like the edibles program from New Jersey? What should I be like, in tune with from real people that are needing help with food?
I think healthy choices, healthy options, not just sweet. I love savory stuff also. And I know when I went to an event one time, they gave the extract in a little vial that you can add your own or do shots of it or whatever. So that was always another option to add your own, have it on the side. Like sometimes when I get salad, I get dressing on the side. I don't put, it's just little things like that, like you have craft cannabis. Well, supposedly have craft cannabis. Well, we need like that kind of level of elegant with the food, with the food elegance. Like here's a good idea. Food pairing. You pair your food with the cannabis. So say you have a sour diesel cannabis. You have a sour diesel meal, and you pair it with some cannabis that's sour diesel and some wine that's sour diesel, or pairing is a fun thing I think to do.
I like that. Cool idea.
Yeah, I personally am a bad person to ask that question too, because a large part of me almost doesn't understand like edibles in the sense where like I'll just take RSO and eat regular food. Now, however, that being said, it leaves a lot of room for someone like myself and other people who maybe share similar thoughts like that, to be pleasantly surprised and happy with what can be offered. I went to a couple dinners, and I forget the name. It was 20 past 4. That's what it was. And I'm sure there's other companies that do it. And they had a great dinner, and they had like how they have the flight of like beers. If you were at a restaurant, they had the flight of 5 different strains. You would smoke the strain, and the chef would come out. He would explain and a little bit of history about the strain and this and that. Then they would make it with the dish, and it would be a few courses or whatever. You get 5 different courses, one for each strain, and that was amazing. Because there was education involved with really exceptionally well done food, and but that being said, if anybody's got an edible and they hand it to me, I'm like super excited, whether it's a cookie or it's a brownie or a lollipop or a candy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, lately I'm looking for sugar-free options, but even like with honey, stuff made with honey.
I feel like a lot of people do ask for the sugar-free options. That's like, in terms of trying to cater to everybody. A lot of people, diabetics, this and that. The more sugar-free options you make available, probably the better.
My strips are sugar free.
Awesome.
You remember the Listerine strips from back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what I do. It's the first product I put out for New Jersey.
That excites me. That automatically, now I want that strip. Yeah,
I like that.
Cool. Yeah.
It's sugar free, it's gluten free, it's dairy free. We stay away from like red 40 and blue number 1, those artificial dyes and garbage like that. Like I really tried to make this with medicine in mind, but also like as a cool product for people to just be like, yeah, I like edibles. So the strip definitely hits a lot of those target points, but it's hard. I'm gonna do a brownie next and an oatmeal raisin cookie and stuff like that. I don't know if I could do those sugar free. That's a hard ask.
For sure, yeah, absolutely.
No, it's brownie. It's a brownie. I mean,
Yeah, right.
Use that raw sugar at that one.
Yeah, I use turbinado / raw sugar for almost everything. I very rarely use white granulated sugar.
It doesn't come out as well, I don't think.
Um,
It's different.
yeah, and white granulated sugar is just so bad for us. It's the most
Yeah.
processed form.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know when I make a cheesecake, I always use the raw sugar, and I'm making a cheesecake in a couple of weeks for my birthday, so stick around, Mikey.
Oh my God, you got so excited when you started
Yeah.
saying that.
Pretzel crust, cheesecake with a pretzel crust. It's
It's
amazing.
really good cheese.
Yeah, it's mostly pretzel crust, and then you leave everything out for room temperature, and then you put it in a bath. You put it in a water bath, and you cook it for an hour. It's the best cheesecake ever. I use mascarpone with sour cream, and it's just mm. And everybody wants me to medicate it, but I'm like, I'll give you the medication on the side. I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want
You
to
don't wanna
medicate
mess with
the
that
cheesecake.
cheesecake.
No, no, no. Plus, I might give it to my, in-laws or something. You never know who you're giving a cheesecake to. I don't want to give them something that's gonna mess them up.
Or they just see cheesecake in the fridge and they say, "This is the best day of my life. There's a piece of cheesecake. Let me get at it."
Yeah, and now I'm really stoned, and I gotta go to
I
a
didn't want to be. This is awful.
Yeah, so okay, so the strips sound good, and you sound like you're gonna make some cookies. I'm starving now. I can go for some cookies and some brownies. And
Yeah.
Big Bear's looking at me like, yeah, big, yes, sir. Big Bear
Hopefully
just
the
woke up.
CRC lets me round it out with a little beverage action.
Oh, really?
That's what I want to go after next. I want to introduce beverages to the market. I'm pretty sure every manufacturer wants to do that actually. But we just don't have like clear guidelines yet for it. Just waiting.
Still waiting.
Just waiting. Yep.
How long have you been waiting for? You've been waiting for a while.
Yeah, I mean, when I submitted product approval for strips, it took them 120 days to approve it. Same thing on baked goods. We were looking at like 3 months before they did anything with that. I had to publicly speak in a meeting yesterday. Like it's too much. So now as an operator, I'm just expecting that like it'll take 3 or 4 months for the CRC to sign a piece of paper that says, yeah, you can make products you're already making. Go for it. So I have no idea when the ink will dry on the edibles and when it will be printed in the register, but I'm hoping that it's soon.
I liked what you were saying to the CRC. Do you think they're receptive or helpful? You think what can they do? And have they helped?
I'm doing my best to figure out ways to communicate with them that would be more receptive. Like I'm trying to be solution oriented when I approach them as opposed to just, telling them how bad they keep screwing me over by doing what they're doing. But I don't know. I think that a lot of us just need to start really digging into legislation and using that as a way to move forward because the CRC ultimately they work for the legislators. They're not actually the boss. So we need to go above them now and start getting some legislative changes going. So I'm trying to put a template together that would help the entire industry navigate that process to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, the CRC, they have it a little rough because you don't just have one person as your boss. You have an entire Senate and Assembly as your boss.
Yeah.
It's a little tough.
It's hard. They're in a rough position, but also they signed up for this job. And the better that they do their job, the better I can do my job, which is to serve patients and consumers in the state. So,
Yes.
yeah, I just need them to do their jobs faster than they are doing it.
Yeah, these delays, man. I know a dispensary that just opened up, and they were literally had 10 months of delays. 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it was killing them.
Yeah.
And they had to go fight with the town. The town was not giving them their license, and they finally got their license this week. And it's like all this work, all these months of 10 months of lost profits and just money going out the window, trying to keep the doors open while you're waiting for your license and not selling weed because you can't sell weed now. Everyone can't be the weed man, New Jersey weed man, and keep selling weed while you're not open yet.
Yeah, exactly. We don't all get to be that lucky. I
No.
certainly didn't get the chance to be that lucky.
No, he put in a lot of work to get that. So, all right, they're not going to bother him, but they'll bother everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a legal dispensary now, right?
Yeah, and he's growing weed in the backyard. And I'm not dry snitching on him. He's putting photos on Facebook.
He
So
would tell you to put it out there. Yeah,
it looks like this. It looks like what's behind me. That's the back of the joint. The back
pretty much.
his joint looks like back here.
Pretty much half of that. Yeah.
Like, oh man. F the
One
law.
thing I can't say about him though is like while while he does have like, a pretty wild reputation, I'm thankful for the work that he did do before me, because if it wasn't for somebody like him, there's a lot of people like me that wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. So kudos to him for at least, getting the door open for somebody like me to walk through it.
That's right.
Sure.
And patients like Cheryl Miller.
Yeah.
Cheryl Miller was one of the first patients in New Jersey who was getting arrested for cannabis. And her husband, Jim, used to push her across the state in her gurney and her wheelchair. And they got arrested down in Washington. She was like the first medical patient in New Jersey, and she died waiting for it. She didn't get it. She was still waiting. And we're still waiting. We're still waiting.
I know when I first came into the room, you guys were talking about what happened to that guy in Tom's River.
Yeah.
I don't know like the ins and outs of his situation, and I don't, know all of the details and the nuances, but I feel so empathetic for him, and I feel like there's something that people like me should be doing for people like him, because had the CRC and the municipality and the legislation had thought about people like us that were actually doing operations outside of their little paperwork, he would not be in the scenario that he's in. He would actually probably be an industry fucking leader. But he wasn't, willing to leave Ocean County. And I fucking get that, because that's his home. And I wasn't really willing to leave my home either. I didn't want to go to Delaware, but I had to do what I had to do. And it just sucks that like he just keeps getting arrested for doing the very fucking thing that I am now doing legally. And it's really, really a problem for me. It's a big problem for me, because we come from the same world.
Yeah, we're talking about Dan.
That's his name, yeah.
Yeah, he got a stiff deal. I mean, he pled to it, but it's a horrible situation.
Yeah, 5 years, I think he got, right?
Yeah, like that is terrible. Terrible. Ocean County is tripping. Like I said, I don't know if there's past stuff that I just don't know about, but from what it looks like on the surface, it's like you guys are really putting somebody in jail for this when we've got dispensaries in Tom's River now. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I think it was 3 5-year sentences, but they all run concurrent. So all the charges were actually 15 years, or
oh gosh,
that he's going to serve.
Ocean County is the worst. They have the most banned dispensaries, I think, than any other county.
Yeah, I think they were the last county to have a dispensary as well.
Yeah, and Bergen, I think, is the other, and Morris. I think Morris banned.
Ocean County is one of the most corrupt counties in the state, but they're all corrupt.
Yeah, that's New Jersey.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we're uncovering a lot of it too. It's scary.
That's what we're talking about in the first portion of this. It's something we have come across quite often, as I'm sure you guys have.
I mean, I honestly, I keep getting lucky every step of the way, but I have absolutely heard horror stories from my colleagues in the space about municipalities just really doing shady shit and greasy shit. I'm flying under the radar tends to be my superpower, so I dodge those bullets, but it's definitely out there and it's definitely real. And I hope that somebody could do something about it. I really do, because it's going to stop a lot of amazing underground operators from ever being able to come up if they would want to for this kind of air.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that story I saw here? It was crazy. Oh yeah, the guy from Alabama. Did you hear about the guy from Alabama? Life sentence for growing weed.
What?
Yeah, Leon Hotchkiss, now 68 years old, remains behind bars in Alabama, spending decades in prison for growing pot. He had a they had a parole hearing, and they voted to keep him in prison.
Wow.
So his next hearing is set for 2028. He'll be 73 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Spent 40 years in prison for growing weed in Alabama.
Which I'm almost certain Alabama just approved their first black cultivator.
Maybe, but they seem to not be able to let that one go. Wow, 40 years, huh?
Yeah. I don't understand. I guess it's not for me to understand because I don't work in government or politics.
It's
But
the individual players involved. You know, they don't want to. They're against their own egos. Most of the times, they're fighting their own egos. That's what I find within corruption, within like all these different governing bodies and people on the state level and stuff. Is the real fight is like them against their own ego. Wildly enough, that seems to be at the core of it, and it's pretty wild. You know, certain people can mess up anything. You know, someone asks you what's your favorite food, it's kind of a garbage question because it depends on who made it and what ingredients they use. So people ruin things, and they do it quite often. And that's where my brain goes to when I hear something like that. The individual players in that are not willing to do the right thing. Why doing the right thing is hard to do. I don't understand why you don't hear people say "I'm sorry" anymore is weird, or I don't know. I'm not sure. Everybody's got the answer to everything anymore. The human being connection has been entirely lost, and I mean that's just I don't even. I can't imagine that poor guy.
You know what's crazy about this story is they're using him for slave labor now. He's actually
It's a big business, yeah. Slave labor in this country, big
they're
business.
using him to clean boats, washing boats, and washing golf carts and doing maintenance every day. And they said he's a really hard worker. You're getting paid 30 cents a day.
Hard worker. Well, the sad thing is he's not able to work for himself. He's working for the state.
He should be growing weed. Another life ruined.
They don't want to give up a lifetime employee, you know?
That's
he makes them money. He makes them money locked up.
A little controversial, but sometimes I get upset with certain companies and brands and stuff that are all like, oh my God, we need to support everybody that's in prison. I absolutely understand we need to support people in prison, but also those same companies need to be saying we need to just abolish the prison system is really what it's coming down to. Because every time you ask me to donate to the people in prison's commissary, you're really asking me to continue to make sure that like the prison system continues to put people in jail for lifetimes for fucking grams of weed so that they can have free labor, so that they can replace slavery, which is what the prison system actually is. So like people that care about quote unquote marijuana reform need to also be figuring out how to get rid of the prison system.
Couldn't agree more. We have 5% of the world's population, and we have 25% of the world's incarcerated citizens. What we have is a war on people. Most people in jail are locked up for simple possession, all sorts of garbage things. You know, you get caught in the system. It's a very lucrative business. They're going to keep you in the system. It's going to be very hard to get out of it. You're making them money, whether it be probation and penalties and fines and lawyers' fees, and they work for the state. Public defenders. It's just madness.
It really is. It's all intertwined.
But you know, it's also a very popular place this day and age to just be like, I'm into this. Let's change this. Let's change that. You make a Facebook post, hit send, and then you jump in the shower and you put on Netflix. Like,
yeah.
Word, you're into it. I got it.
I support it. Here's my like.
At the end of the day, it's like I'm at least satisfied that some people will do that much. I'm like, words.
I am. I'm happy with the like.
Put it out there. I'm happy even that. Like you took you put your foot in the door on that. At the very least, I'll take it.
You're interested in the event. All right, I'll take it. Right. You're interested in Hot Box for Home Grow. Come on. All right.
Yeah, I'll even hit the
almost
like
there.
Button. I might even hit the love button. Depends on my mood.
I'm going to love the Hot Box for Home Grow. I'm excited about that. That's the kind of activism I like. It's going to be fun. and it's going to be effective because it's the first day of the session. It's literally the first day. So that's a hell of a way to make it an impression of the whole new Senate and Assembly. And I'm so glad that Senator Dick Cody is gone. He was so not helpful. McKeon took his place. He used to ignore us. Like Scutari ignored us. Scutari ignored us. I was in my wheelchair. I was on my scooter, and he went up, literally scooted up the stairs, or I couldn't follow him. Like, you didn't have to go up the stairs. You could have taken the elevator with us. No, he had to get away from us. Well, all he said was, "You should be happy I got, you wouldn't have weed if it wasn't for me." Well, first of all, that's not even true. I was getting weed.
We had weed before you were born.
Yeah, I was getting weed long before any of this. You mean bad weed? Maybe, okay. But an overpriced weed, maybe. Okay, sure. But weed, no. It's just amazing to me that he won't have an informational hearing on this. So the more pressure we put on him for that informational hearing, it'll happen. A lot of questions are going to be answered in that informational hearing.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically saying, why don't you smile a little more with all the work I've done?
Kiss the ring. You did not kiss the ring. No, I didn't. I'm not going to. I don't
And
like
you're not
it.
the godfather of cannabis. You're the abusive stepfather. Stop it.
You're not my godfather.
I didn't ask for this. You're just in my home, man.
You're totally an abusive stepfather. You're like worse than my abusive stepfather. You're like, out of all my stepfathers, you're like the worst.
Yeah, you're not the godfather. Gobstopper.
Bad father. Oh, man. Well, that's all I got, guys. Anything else? This is a good podcast. I really enjoyed this. Buttercake, how do we reach out to you? Did you have a website or a way that people can find you? And you got a menu?
Yeah.
Hit me up on a menu.
I'm multifaceted. Literally, if you just Google Buttercake, Buta cake, you'll find me everywhere. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, all of it. I'm everywhere.
All the platforms.
Exactly, all the platforms. And then
Nice.
if you're curious about me as a manufacturer, my manufacturing is Canpowerment. That's CANN Powerment, POWERMENT.
Canpowerment.
The license that I went after so that I could make my products.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Trichome Analytical, we can reach you at trichomeanalytical.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can reach us there or on social media, on Instagram or whatever. Trichome Analytical.
We'll find you. Cool. Are you guys coming out next week?
Going to try. It starts at 11 a.m., correct?
Yes, 11:11 until probably 4:20. We'll try to go all day, I think.
Nice. I'll definitely stop by at least in the afternoon.
It'll be warm. Don't worry. You won't freeze.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to freeze. I will not be out there if it's freezing. So I told Chris that. I said, "You sure this is a glamping tent?" He's like, "Yeah, it's for glamping." I'm like, "Good, because I'm fancy. I can't be like, not fancy."
That's great.
Well, you know what? Let me get to our list. We have a list that we read for our show, and it's all the patients that are still waiting. And it starts with Cheryl Miller. She's ground zero. Sabina Rose was a 15-month-old baby who died from a 25-hour seizure. Not just a 10-minute seizure, a 25-hour seizure. She died in her mother's arms because she couldn't get the cannabis that she needed. That was during the Christie administration. And she was waiting and waiting and waiting. And at that time, the Christie administration had a rule where you had to go see a psychiatrist as a child. So she spent 4 months waiting to find a psychiatrist that would see her. So as a 1-year-old baby, what's a 1-year-old baby going to tell a psychiatrist, by the way? Is there anything now? What can a psychiatrist ask a 1-year-old baby? No?
Maybe the only thing the child could say is their first word.
Yeah, maybe that'll be your first word. Cannabis. Very sad, because she spent 4 months of her short life trying to find a stupid psychiatrist, which was ridiculous. And the parents were in a tough spot, because do you give your kid illegally, the cannabis illegally, and then have to deal with DIFUS and CPS and all that other stuff? Or do you wait? You do it legally. And they were trying to do it legally and waiting. And she ran out of time. We're all running out of time. This is ridiculous. This is life and death for people, what we're fighting for here. Diane, Gracie, Cindy Mae, Marie, Jack, Joan Ford, Randy Robertson. Randy Robertson had cancer, and they gave Randy Robertson the Whipple procedure. You know what that is? Whipple procedure is when they take out all your organs. They take out everything. It's when you have cancer throughout your whole body, and they just remove everything. And they wouldn't give him cannabis oil, but they gave him the Whipple procedure. And then after they did the Whipple procedure, then they gave him the cannabis oil. They said, okay, now you can have it. And it was like, you should have given the oil first. Like, this is crazy. This list sucks, by the way. Polly, Bill, Chad, Jeremy, Colette, Matt, Troy, Russ, Roger Barber, who fought for his daughter to have cannabis distributed by the nurses in school. His daughter had epilepsy. And they made his daughter go across the street 100 yards away from the school to use their medicine, and then go back to school. And the mother would have to go there and do that every day for her to give her medicine. Ridiculous. Ridiculous what they put patients through. Jay Orletto, Ella, Hattie Kosho was my grandma. My grandma didn't smoke weed, but I used to fill up a vape bag with cannabis vape, and she was in pain, and I gave it to her. I drove it down and I gave it to her. I said, Grandma, we're going to test your breathing today. And I give her the bag, and she liked it. So every day I would test her breathing. And so when I would show up some days, she'd be like, Edward, you didn't test my breathing yet. You going to test my breathing? I'm like, yeah, Graham, here it is. She started to like it after a while, because it was helping her. It wasn't hurting her. It was helpful to her. It was relieving her pain. Jackie Rickard, Anthony, Jake, Armando. Armando died from tailbone cancer. I never heard in my life of tailbone cancer. I mean, these are things we're suffering from here.
And Jake, too, he had a very rare form of brain cancer.
Yeah. Everyone on this list should be given anything they need in life. Why do they have to wait? Why'd they die waiting? Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean, Joyce, Lori, Mike's aunt, Frank, Brian, Flo, Carl, Thorne, Frank, Lorraine, Terry, Charlotte, Cher, Jaybird, Michael, Marley, Colette, Brendan, Red, Rico, Lulu, Becky. Lawanda is Bear's sister. We just put her on the list. A lot of suffering on this list. Chip is on the list. Jeff Oakes is on our list. Jeff Oakes used to go to council meetings with a chemo bag. Sometimes he would have a chemo bag strapped to his hip. They gave him 4 months to live. He started using cannabis oil. And they gave him 4 months. He lived for 4 years because they didn't understand cannabis oil and how cannabis oil can help people. 4 years after being given a 4-month diagnosis. And he went to council meetings and he fought. He could have stayed home and just closed his shades, closed his doors, and just lived his life. But no, he went out to fight because he saw how people were suffering. He saw the injustices. And if he was here today, he'd be out for that fight next week. He'd be out hotboxing for home.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was told 4 months in January of 2016, and then went on and took 4 years and fought like hell. Made sure that everybody knew what it was doing for him and the struggles and the burden it was trying to use medical cannabis, and not only on him but his family. He lived for 4 years and like a son of a gun, made an impact.
He definitely beat it. He beat it in his own way. He fought it and he beat it.
Hmm.
I never seen anyone fight like that. Well, I saw Cheryl Miller fight like that. You don't see that fight too often.
No, you could live a whole lifetime and never see it, maybe more than once. I mean, he even took part from his deathbed. Wasn't the last meeting he was involved in? He was on a deathbed.
That's why we fight for Zoom at these council meetings, because Jeff was able to take part in a Zoom meeting at a council meeting from his deathbed, and he even said that to them. And what they do, they hurried him up. 1 minute left. 1 minute left. Like, really? This guy's
And
literally like, oh, that was
And
rough.
meanwhile, the only reason why we had Zoom at that time was because of the pandemic.
For healthy people.
It wasn't for the sick.
No, it wasn't for the sick
dying.
people. It was for 19 months for the healthy people, so that they wouldn't get sick. Well, anyway, thanks, guys. We'll catch you next week. And Mikey, you want to take it home with me?
Yeah, you started off. I'll end it all.
They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.